You can't hear it. I can hear it in my ear, and they can hear it. So, anyway, generally we do a beer review, like we were talking about before, at the start of the show. And I most of the time let guests go first, but it's up to you. Do you want me to go first, or do you?
Yeah, why don't you go first? Show me how it's done.
All right, I'll show you how it's done. Not that there's much to it, but you know, it is what it is. And the song is that. Great. It's the one thing. It's like these songs are so long. It was a Viking pillage for Sathras, who's a Viking from Norway. All right, let me flip to the screen here, the solo screen, and take down this and jump into the beer screen. All right, guys. So an extra special review here. So we have, and since Russ is here, right? I decided that I would have to do a can, obviously. So this is, and Sathras, please, for the love of God, tell me how the hell to say this. It's a Agar, Indian Pale Ale. I think it's Agar, but it is from Norway. It's another one of the beers that Sathras was nice enough to bring me while we were at PAX East. I only have two left, but this is the second one. So I was looking up this brewery, and thankfully they did have an English translation to all the Viking all the way. Yes, Ray, I see, definitely. So they did have an English translation. This actually is a brew pub and restaurant that puts this out. They also have a hotel that's associated to it, but they do can and do kegs regionally in the area. So wherever they are in Norway. South, I couldn't be able to pronounce the town if I even tried. So anyhow, so we're gonna crack this open. You can notice that the top of this is a bit different than what you see, what I've seen on most cans. Like this is another can that I'm gonna, my secondary beer. This is the general, which you'll see around in the U.S. right? But Russ, you did say that this type of can pop is something another brewery in the U.S. is doing right now?
Yeah. So one of the major can manufacturers is Crown, and they came up with this design. So basically, it turns the can into a cup. So like Fly Fox outside of Philly.
Oh, okay.
Well, so when you pop that open, it's going to basically allow you to. You could drink it straight from the can. It's not, going to limit your ability to smell the beer and all of that. So.
All right. I'm gonna hopefully this wasn't shaken in the process of getting. Oh wow! All right. Oh wow, that's actually kind of cool. So there you go, guys. I'm gonna kind of not try to spill the beer on. There you go. Like I said, turns it into a cup, right there. But you know what? Since you're here, I do have my craft can. My craft cans.
So flatters.
Yeah. So I am gonna pour it in here. Check this out. This is an IPA. It doesn't. When I initially smelled it, when I cracked it open, it wasn't super flowery. But neither was the IPA I had yesterday. A lot of carbonation though. I mean, check out that head. And I didn't really try to pour it slowly. Maybe it's because of coming out of the can. I'm not really too sure. Not a lot of sediment on the bottom of it. You can't really see in there. Actually, nice as you see it in the bottom of the can. I actually I really like this design, as far as the way you can actually drink it out of the can instead of just having to have that little area to drink out of it right there. But this is an IPA. Like yesterday's beer, this is an American IPA style. Come on, amateur pour. Oh, please. Yes, I know. We love our carbonation. I bet you do. I don't know. Maybe it's a Viking thing. So, I smell more malts in this than anything else. I have a feeling, even though this is labeled as an American IPA, it's more influenced from the British IPAs, which aren't as hoppy as like West Coast IPAs in the U.S. Even though last night that one right back, oh, you can't see it right now. All right. Here, I put it on the shelf there, Saf, because I don't know when I'm gonna be able to get another bottle of this. But that did say it towed itself as a West Coast IPA. which it really wasn't in whatever classification that we have here in the U.S. As I get beer on my nose. This is only about 6.5%. It's actually much smoother, and there's not a lot of bitterness to it. There's a hint of bitterness to it, but it's not extremely like over hopped. The color itself, this is definitely a filtered beer. Last night's Norwegian beer was unfiltered. All the stuff that they did at their brewery last night was unfiltered. So this one is definitely a little bit different from that. You can't pour, and you couldn't work at a bar. Right, I work at Brewfest all the time. I don't know. I think if I ever worked at a bar, I probably would drink myself out of a job. So that would be a bad thing. This is very smooth, like I said. Not a lot of hop bitterness, and there's not a lot of hop forwardness to it. Again, I think this is definitely very similar to the beer we had last night. But, the color's a little bit darker, I think. If you didn't watch last night's episode, you always can go back on the videos on demand. I always do highlights for every episode. You laughed because I would drink myself out of a job. Hey, I got to know my limits, man. I don't want to go off and go crazy with that. But I do think that this IPA, like last night's, is very influenced to the any British IPAs as you'll get. Very malty, and kind of smooth. And at 6.5, it's not necessarily that high in alcohol, and you don't really, obviously don't taste it in this. But you can see the head is kind of dissipating right there a little bit. So maybe it was just a crappy pour. Amateur hour here. So I don't really taste anything unique in this. I mean, there isn't. I really can't tell what type of hops are in it. I wasn't also able to find. It looks really cloudy. I don't know. It's clearer than last night. You kind of can see my hand through it. I mean, again, this is something I enjoy. British IPAs, to be honest with you. I think I've had my fill of West Coast IPAs. I'm becoming a big fan of New England IPAs, like from Trillium and Heady Topper. But this is definitely one of those things that I could sit down for a while and just kind of enjoy. Like last night, I actually think I liked the one last night a little bit better, so I probably would give this about 3.5. I would definitely drink this again. It's not that cloudy. Is it? I don't know. Russ, what do you think?
It's hard to tell if it's cloudy or if it's just sort of more of a darker amber color.
Yeah, I don't know. If I don't have a smaller glass, I would always pour it in to see if it was. What's up, Drew? How are you, sir? I would actually give this a 3.5. I really liked the one last night a lot better. I do like the craft can art though on this. You can see the Viking. I'm guessing that's a Viking right here with some. I'm guessing dragons. Saf, you can tell me if I'm wrong. You're the one who gave me the beer. No, wait, look at it. It's very scaled. It's got scales on it, or maybe they're fish. I don't know. Right, see the scales, and I think it's going in, and that's the heads of it. I don't know, maybe, but it's the can artwork is pretty decent. Again, I can't find this here, so again, thank you, Sathros, for bringing this to me at PAX East. Traveling all the way from Norway to drop this off. But I would definitely give this a 3.5. I would definitely drink this again, but I actually enjoyed the one last night a lot more than this one. Not that this is a bad beer, but it's just me. Same as used on Viking ships. All right, well there we go. So dragons, I'm guessing, but yeah. So if you guys can find it in your area, I don't know if you can find it, or maybe you can have Sath send some to you guys when we set up the beer trade. We have a call tomorrow with a beer exchange app on your phone. Permit? Oh, You should be able to post a link there, Sal, if you want to do post something. If not, I'm sure Ray or Ratchers here or Monica can actually give you permission to do that. But this is a kind of one of those beers that if you can't get it in your area, obviously, then you probably will be able to get it from our beer trade. We have a call tomorrow at noon with the Beer Exchange app that is literally has a way for us to do beer exchanges across the world, to discuss a partnership with them, which would be kind of fun to do. This way, you guys have beers you want to try in your area, and we can ship you beers from our areas. But that's basically it. But if you're interested in trying this, maybe you can work on a deal with Sathros. You know, he's willing to trade. So I brought him some really good beers too. A little more about the pop top change. So they want to know, can you explain a little bit more about the pop top change and the reason why it's better or maybe worse than the other option?
Yeah, so that design was originally, I think, released by Budweiser in China, I want to say, for like some big sporting events. They were selling cans like that at a stadium, or might have been, or I could be wrong, or it might have been Brazil. I don't know, one of the two. It was in another country originally. It came to the U.S. a few years ago. Crown partnered with Sly Fox Brewing Company outside of Philadelphia. They released the first U.S. craft beer in a can that pop top, and they started selling at the Philly stadium, to the baseball stadium. So they didn't have to supply cups to people buying the beer, and you could still, smell the beer, provide a little more aroma. Instead of small typical pop top that they have. And it's actually spread out. You see breweries all over the U.S. I wouldn't say it's a huge amount, but there's definitely been probably 30 or 40 that have released beers with that type of style of opening.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, I think the benefits certainly are if you go to the beach or something like that, you don't have to bring a glass if you're a big fan of being able to smell the beer and all of that. So there's that. I think it's a bit of a novelty. So there's always that. I think it's kind of a cool thing that people aren't used to, so they're willing to check it out. It's interesting too, a little side story of that. New Jersey had a state law that prohibited any sort of removable lid or pop, the way the old beer cans used to be with the ring tab, because people would just throw them on the beach and throw them all over. So it was littering all the time. So they made a law against it. Sly Fox released beers with those pop tops in New Jersey, and they had to pull them all off the shelf because they were considered illegal. So it's an interesting little.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I guess I can see that because years and years ago, the Jersey Shore used to be just disgusting. You would go and you'd find like syringes and all sorts of stuff, and they've done a good job cleaning it up over the last 2 decades. So, but the fact that they made it a law. I mean, we've actually done some I guess news on weird beer laws. Like for instance, Pennsylvania finally changed their beer laws about a month ago. So now we are able to buy beers not just in cases or kegs, which is great. Baron Bar, thank you for hanging out. Appreciate it. Have a good night, man. Sleep well. I know it's late where you are. So we'll talk soon. So do you want to do the beer review then? Which one?
I'll do my best.
All right.
A bit of a rookie about it.
You'll probably do it better than me. So.
Yeah. So I should preface this that I'm a big beer fan, obviously, but I'm also a big fan of craft beer can art and design. So once in a while, the two come together really well, and I get pretty geeked out on a brewery that does a really good job with the design work, but also brewing good beer to put inside the can. So I chose to review a beer from Rheingeist, is in Cincinnati.
Oh.
And they kind of have a really cool sort of motif with all their cans. They kind of all follow a similar look, kind of the same different bars at the bottom, different colors, basically. Pretty, I would say it's pretty, it's not too crazy, but it works really well. So it's kind of a cool thing. They kind of have a cool story behind their name. The design work's all done by a design studio down in Texas called Helms Workshop, which has also done Modern Times, and a few other big craft breweries in the US. They've done artwork and design for them. So Rheingeist actually, in Cincinnati, there's a area of the city called Over the Rhine, and it was traditionally a place where a lot of German immigrants settled. So kind of took on that nickname, but it's a neighborhood in the city, and that's where the brewery is located. And Rheingeist means ghost of the Rhine.
Oh wow!
That's why the logo has a bit of the little ghost guy there. So pretty cool. This is the Mosaic Pale Ale. So it's a single hop take on a pale ale. Mosaic is a pretty popular hop right now. It's produces a lot of tropical flavors, a lot of different fruit flavors and things like that. Kind of the stuff that's pretty popular, kind of trending in craft beer. So this is their, it's just a single hop pale ale. So poured it in a glass. It's pretty clean, pretty clear. Different than a lot of beers. I live up in Maine. A lot of our big hoppy beers are pretty cloudy and unfiltered. But this one's pretty clean. And it has a lot of tropical fruit aroma, which is probably what you're going after with that type of hop. And it definitely is a pretty easy drinking 5.5% pale ale. So not too bad I got to work tomorrow, so don't want to get too crazy. But very clean, a lot of great, the flavors from that particular hop variety really come out. So
what was the hop variety you said that was in it before?
Mosaic.
Mosaic. Oh, that's because it's on the Mosaic Pale. Gotcha.
Yeah. So you'll notice in a lot of beers that have like a Mosaic hop, the label on the beer is also like take on a Mosaic art, Mosaic tiles, things like that. So you see a lot of them. So yeah, it's a great beer. And actually, this is one of my favorite breweries. Had a chance to visit them a few months back in Cincinnati. So I will say they definitely kind of have the full package. They have a great brewery. It's an awesome experience to go and check out the brewery, but also they do a great job with their design. And then all the beers they brew are just pretty top notch. So I like to give every beer pretty much a 4 because I think it takes a lot of work to put a beer together and get it on the market, and it takes a bit of balls to get out there and have people reviewing your beer. So, but it's kind of like Uber drivers for the most part. I tend to give them a 4 as well. But this one's solid. It's just definitely a solid 4. I wish I had more of these cans. I only have 1, so I need to find a way to get more of them. They don't distribute where I am.
Where do they distribute from?
They're literally only in the state of Ohio. So you pretty much need to know somebody in Ohio. I have a buddy of mine in Cincinnati who's been pretty kind and generous about sending beers from this brewery out to me once in a while, and I send him some stuff from Maine. But yeah, it's kind of cool that they are staying local. They're getting big, but they're staying local, kind of going the route of like, some of the bigger breweries like Surly that kind of stays pretty local, and
sure,
bigger brewers that, they just want to produce as much beer as they can for the local crowd and not get too crazy with distribution.
Well, I think the same thing with like Tired Hands by us and even like Trillium. They don't distribute that far. They do something well and they do something close, and they don't necessarily, get out of their local area, which makes people want to get their beer more. And maybe that's, I don't think it would be I mean, it's a selling point, especially if the beer is good. If a beer isn't good, and then they're not distributing to places it's hard to get, well, that's a different story, right?
Yeah.
So, no, I think you did a better job than I did. So don't worry.
Short and sweet.
Short and sweet. Nothing wrong with that. I actually saw there was an article about another Rheingeist beer that was released recently, and I can't remember the name of it. I'd have to scroll through my phone where I look at all the beer articles for like discussion, when we have topics. But you have it. Yes, that was it.
Yeah,
that was it. That's the one.
Yeah, so you can kind of see their take on the design. It all kind of stays pretty similar. Yeah, these guys just do a great job with all that. So Knowledge is a big double IPA they just released. I wouldn't say it's like a New England IPA. It's not like super hazy or anything like that, but it's just, pretty awesome beer. It's like kind of like a big tropical kind of malty, I don't know, it was very good. I wish I had more of those as well. So